Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, Algebra Lessons, and this is Unit 2, Lesson 2 on inequalities of absolute value. So inequalities, so equations, well, we know what equations are. We just did that in the last video, so x equals y. But inequalities would be something like this, when we have the greater than and less than signs. So remember, something to keep in mind is that when there's an x and a, when there's a less than and greater than sign with nothing under it, you will use parentheses to explain ranges. But if there's lines under it, you use brackets. But in this case, there will typically be no lines under it. So when you see this less than sign, x is less than something number, you're gonna use and, in which both would be true, because we solve like with equations. Remember when we set up two? So we're gonna have two different inequalities, and it will be inequality 1, so let's just say I1 and I2 would be true. But when it's x is greater than the other thing, it would be or instead. So this will make more sense in a minute. So let's say we'll have to put it on the number line then, but let's say we had 1 minus 2x is less than 8. Okay? Well, we do the same steps as when we did the equation. So please watch lesson 1 if you haven't already. So get the absolute value by itself. Already done. So now we do two different inequalities, but this time we flip it. So we flip the inequality for the second one and change the sign to whatever's on the right side. Then we would solve. We do minus 1 on both sides, and then that would cancel out, and so we have negative 2 is negative 2x is less than 7. And on here we do the same thing. So then we have negative 2x is greater than negative 9. Then we divide by negative 2. Now, anytime you divide by negative in inequalities, you always flip the sign. That's something super important. So we do x, but then we flip it, so now it's this way, greater than 7 over 2, or negative 7 over 2. And in this case, it would be x is less than, they're both negatives on the numerator and denominator, so now we just have 9 over 2. And so that's what it would be. We can put this on a number line. So we have negative 7 over 2, 2, and then 9 over 2. And since this would actually be a and situation because it's pointing this way, and that would mean that they are both true. So x, we have a point here. They're both open dots because there's no line under the inequality symbols, and x is greater than, so you know it's going to be shading this way, but it is less than 9 over 2. So that's what it would look like on the number line. In a case where it was or, it would be different, and there would be two different lines you would draw on the number line. So let's look at an example of that. So let's say now we have 1 minus 2x is greater than 8. Okay? We still need to do two different equations, inequalities. And then we solve once again. And we would just get the opposite of that. So this time we would get that x is less than negative 9, wrong thing. Negative 7 over 2, and x is greater than 9 over 2. So that means that they're going their separate ways. So on the number line, we once again have those 2 points, open circles still, but we don't color it in this way since it's an or inequality because it's pointing this way. We draw this way and this way. So that's what it would look like on the number line. Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry that I'm trying to go quick, but I have to go quick in my situation right now. Now, the last thing we're going to look at in this video is tolerance. So tolerance, sometimes, let's say there's a store and you have cereal. So you have cereal box, and it says that there is 150 grams of cereal, which that's not realistic, obviously, but that's just what we're using it as an example. And it says, and they're like, give or take 10 grams. Give or take 10 grams. So what does that mean? Well, that means, okay, you can't try to sue us if it's not exactly 150 pounds. It could be, you could add 10, which would be 160, or subtract 10, which would be 140. If it was 139 or 161, which is more than 10 grams, then you could sue them. But there's an equation to write this. So we have absolute value of actual x minus ideal, we'll talk about what this means in a minute, is less than or equal to tolerance. We'll just say TOL for now. Actual x, what do you substitute in for that? You're just going to say x for that part. Minus ideal. Ideal is going to be what it's advertised as, which is 150. Less than or equal to tolerance, which that means it's going to be plus or minus 10 grams, because that's what they said. And once again, just like before, we would solve like this. 1 would be with the positive 10, and 1 would be with the negative 10. But we don't really need to do it like that. We can actually just say that it's going to be, minus 10. Ugh, this thing was not writing good. That's less than or equal to x minus 150, which is less than or equal to 10. Then what we do is we add 150 to all 3 sides. This time it's really 3 sides. And then we would get 140 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 160, which means that to make so that this company can't be sued, it would have to be from 140 to 160 or equal to. So it could be 140 or 160. That's what's the point of that. So that's what tolerance is. So hopefully this made sense, and that will be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.